Hey, what's going on, y'all? Yeah, today we are going to be doing beef ribs. I got a prime rack and I got a choice rack. I got both of these from HEB. I just wanted to kind of do both and see. The choice rack looks really nice, so I'm excited to do that. So a couple things while trimming. I score the back of the beef ribs with just like an X. We're gonna be cooking them really hot, so I'm not too worried about that membrane being an issue. So I'm not gonna take it off. It should kind of cook off and be fine. Another thing I'm doing is I'm just kind of rounding out the edges of the beef ribs. You don't want to have any points. I mean that goes for any meat that I cook. Everything's round. Everything's like nothing's pointy. Pointy stuff burns. You heard it here first from Jirby. Pointy stuff burns. Just round the beef ribs out. Just round it out a little bit. Give it a little bit of like aerodynamicness. That's also, you heard it here first. Give it some aerodynamicness. So yeah. So I'm trimming off just the corners. I took off a little fat right there. I think it was just a little bit too much, but everywhere else I was like, oh, that looks good. I mean, like I said, we're gonna be cooking really hot. So I like this fat coverage. I was like, oh, I want to cook that because it has so much fat coverage. So with the other beef ribs, usually they don't have a whole lot of fat on top, which kind of sucks. But I'm gonna show you all a way to do no wrap beef ribs and them not be like too crispy. So let's see. I'm just using some yellow mustard. I'm not gonna use like anything, like any mixture or whatever. I'm just dipping my hand in the yellow mustard, throwing that on. And you already know what it is. I like to do the rubs separated, and I can do it by hand like this too. You don't need a shaker bottle. Honestly, just throwing a couple on, get you some rub, shake it on just like so. But with beef ribs, I think I go a little bit heavier with the pepper. Than the briskets. I get a pretty good amount of pepper on there. I want like a nice, really nice bark. Pepper attracts smoke, so the more pepper you put on there, the darker any food that you cook will be. Same go with pork ribs, brisket, anything. You want a better bark? Put more pepper. So that was Lowry's. This is garlic. Like I said in the seasoning video, like, yeah, put that on last. And then beef bouillon, which is like just kind of like my secret little thing I do with the beef ribs, because the beef ribs are just so close to the brisket. Like, I don't want to sell the same thing twice on my menu. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I do this different method. You'll see I do a lot of different stuff for the beef ribs, because if I just cooked them like a brisket, it would just almost be like a brisket. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, so we're doing the same thing here. A lot of pepper. I put a little bit of pepper on top, and then I do the sides, and then I put some more pepper on top, because I don't really like to move the meat around with rub on top. Like, I really focus on making the top like perfect. Like, that's where you're mainly gonna bite, so I need that top part to have the perfect amount of pepper, perfect amount of Lowry's. Everything has to be perfect. So that's what I'm doing. Let's see, got the garlic again. The beef bouillon, actually, like sprinkling it on like this, it comes out a little chunky, so just be careful with that. And definitely don't put too much on. But the first time you do this, if you do try it, just put a little bit. You'll taste it. I mean, like, it almost has the same effect as Lowry's. Like, so just put a little bit. That's looking nice. Then you're going to pat it in. When you pat it in, you pat right in and you pull right up. You do not move your hand across the brisket in any way. Don't mess your rub up on top. And I would just recommend, honestly, with rubbing meats in general, like, take your time. Take your time. And just do, just try to do a nice job. I mean, it's like the most important thing. You don't want to cook something and it be bland. So I just kind of throw them on like this. So there was no fire when I threw them on. I know a lot of people like to. I think there's like someone said, like, get your pit to the temp you want to cook at, and then throw your meats on. I absolutely do not like doing that. You don't like, it's kind of bad for the meat. Everything starts cooking unevenly if you just throw it on like that. The outer edges get way hotter than the middle. Like, you want to warm up everything evenly. You want it to come up slowly. So for this one, it's going to take about 30 minutes to come up. But we're going to blast them with so much smoke. They're going to have so much color. And that tallow that I put in the bottom actually is the reason they're going to have so much color. When you burn tallow like this, tallow, fat, it burns really, really dark. The smoke that it creates is just like black smoke. Black, ugly, dirty smoke. And I know that's another thing. People, you don't want any dirty smoke. Don't worry about the dirty smoke. It is not that big a deal. It really is not that big a deal. I do it all the time. Like, I'm not trying to cook with dirty smoke, but if it's a little dirty, it's really not that big a deal. I mean, if I did like a 14-hour cook with dirty smoke, yes, that's a big deal. If it gets dirty at the beginning or it's dirty for the first like 3-4 hours, not that big a deal at all. So I just wanted to say that. But yeah, putting the tallow on here like this, it's kind of like what Chud did in the video where he's throwing fat on the fire. Basically gives that same effect, but I'm not gonna have raw fat in the smokehouse, throwing it on every once in a while. It's really just inefficient, and it's I don't know. I'm not gonna do it. So the first 30 minutes, just put a bunch of cold tallow in the bottom, and it is a way quicker, way better way to get that same effect. And yeah, I was leaking out the front, so I put some ash there so it wouldn't leak out. But yeah, that's all we're doing, and we're starting the fire this way, but we're gonna switch to a like bundle style fire where I'm just like I'm just throwing them all in the other way. You'll see. But yeah, this is really good. I have the damper open right now for the first 30 minutes because I'm gonna be hitting them with like an insane amount of smoke. I don't want the damper to be closed. But 30 minutes in, like once this fire really starts going. So once this fire really starts going, I'm going to close the damper to 3/4, and then I'm going to try to go to 300 in about 30 minutes. But yeah, you can see that tallow down there burning really good, and it's going to burn for a while too. So, but it's heaviest in the first 30 minutes, then it kind of eases out. So I'm not too worried when I close the damper. But yeah, this fire is just going to keep going, just like ripping. Which is fine in the beginning. If you burn a fast fire and while the meat's still raw, it's really not that big a deal. Once you get further into the cook, fast fires are a big no-no, as I said in the fire management video. But yeah, so if you're having trouble getting a good bark, or you don't like the color, you want more color on your food quicker, this tallow trick works perfect. It really does. And you don't taste it. You really don't. And you'll see why that is. But you really, really are not going to taste it at all. So, yep, 3/4 close. 30 minutes in. Look at that color. It's like, see, it actually will come off on your finger. That's that dirty black smoke from the fat. I feel like a lot of people aren't going to like that, but trust me, it's really not that big a deal. It's hard to convince people that like the old ways and sayings are like not true. A lot of barbecue info is just like simply not true. So, but it's pretty hard to convince people that. But anyways, so I'm going to show you all again. This is 1 hour in. So now we're at 300. You can see on the dial right there. We're at 3 hours in, and the meat's already starting to get tense, and the bark's looking great. And I'm still just building bundle fires like this. With this, I'm trying to block the creases too. Same thing with the slow fires. I'm trying not to have any big creases and just like small flames. I know that look like a lot of flames, but so 4 hours in, go ahead and pop your tallow in. We're going to be using that in a little bit. And now I'm going to spritz with the mushroom soy sauce and a little bit of water. So that's about half and half mushroom soy sauce, because they're already starting to dry out. I want to keep them moist a little bit longer. So now 5 hours in, that's okay. Yeah, now they're getting dry, looking really good. They have great color. They're looking really, really nice. So we're gonna start mopping them. This is because we're not gonna wrap them. So I want this really, really nice crispy bark. I want a super nice crispy bark because I need it to have a different texture, and they're very fatty, and the cook's not super long. I mean, it's a 7-hour cook, maybe 8. It's not a long cook, so you have to render a lot of fat. So you want to keep the beef ribs unwrapped, ideally. That's my plan. But then after the 5-hour mark, once they dry out, once the bark's looking good, I just mop them every hour. I'm just trying to keep the edges, and I'm trying to keep the top like soft. I'm not trying to get that burnt crispy. I'm trying to get the good crispy. Y'all know what I'm saying. I'm trying to get the good crispy, not the burnt crispy. So I'm pulling them right now. They're done. I'm just bending them. If they have a good bend, I'm pulling them off. That's pretty much how I pull them. I'm not gonna temp them. I know 7 hours at 300. They're not at 150. they're looking at the 190s, 200s for sure. So that's just how I pull them. And then you already know I'm gonna mop them again once they're pulled off. We're trying to keep the bark not burnt. That's what we're trying to do with this tallow. You don't want to burn this bark, so mop it on. Mop this tallow on. And man, they look good. They look cool. This is always cool when you're doing this and people see, like, people love it. The tallow, you shouldn't be able to, like, the tallow dries pretty quickly once you put it on, because the beef ribs are so hot, it dries up like super fast. They're not, the bark, I know I'm talking about a crispy bark and you're like, oh well, you're gonna make it soggy. No, they're so hot. They're really crispy. The tallow dries super fast. It's gonna be crispy once you get to them. See, I mean, that was like literally like immediately after. They don't even look as wet. So now it's time to cut. And look at that bark. Look how shiny and cool it looks. I mean, these beef ribs are amazing. Like, I love this style of beef ribs. This is what I do at Goldees when I do them. I think they're just great. I love the crispy bark beef ribs. The fat is so good, and the smoke and everything, like, it's just a good way to do it. It's a good style, and I really, really enjoy it. Looking super juicy for being unwrapped. I feel like people are scared to not wrap something. Like, sometimes I don't wrap briskets until they're done. It's not that big a deal. As long as you keep a good fire, you're totally good, and you keep them away from the fire. Like, so you can see I'm rubbing my finger. That bark is crispy. And time for a little bite. It really was that good. That was not for YouTube. I'm not doing any goofy shit for YouTube. I really do think it was that good. Where it made me do like a whoa, that's good type of thing. I'm not the type of guy that would kind of try to bullshit y'all. So yeah. Look at that smoke ring. The smoke ring's super nice. This small beef rib was kind of weird. Like, it looked weird, but that's what you're gonna get. It is what it is. But I tried a bite of it because I was like, I wonder if it's still good, even though it looks kind of weird. And yeah, it was amazing. And I'm gonna put these back on the menu here pretty soon at Goldees because it was super good. I mean, I was really pumped up. I'm not gonna cut into the choice rack. That was for something else, but it did end up. I did try it later, and it was just as good. I mean, y'all saw I just did the same exact thing to it. So, yeah. But that bark is looking good. It is not the burnt crispy. That's the good crispy. I feel like I just have to say that, but try this method out, and y'all let me know what y'all think and if y'all like it, and that'd be awesome. And thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. Y'all let me know in the comments if y'all want me to do anything else or what meat I should do next. Kind of just let me know, because I'm down for whatever. Alrighty.